Hello and welcome to Salt All the Things. I'm Rocket, that's Trog, and today we're going.
Hi, everybody.
Today we're going to breed a salt-based flying mount that only moves when someone complains about the current patch. Sort of kidding, maybe. Stay tuned and find out. Sorry about that, Trog.
I was gonna say that mount's gonna move pretty fast right now.
It's gonna be the fastest flying mount ever. What's the max speed now? Like 350? This thing's gonna do 500. Woo boy, patch everybody. How's everyone doing?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Can you show me on the doll where the patch hurt you?
Oh man, it hurt me right in the void assault. That's where it hurt me.
Void assaults. Well, before we dive into the saltiness, Trog, is there any like positive spins, or do you just want to dive right in and just start shoveling this salt everywhere?
Oh, I think we should talk about our patch day together. So everybody knows, Rocket and I don't always get to connect in game on patch day, but this time I set aside everything and made sure that I was available, and we did all the new things.
So it's kind of almost your fault.
Yeah, well, that is the guild motto,
Right.
right? Everything is Trog's fault.
But yeah, so
Rocket,
yeah.
why don't you start telling the people about how much we loved those?
Oh, it
voice
was
salts?
just completely, just totally smooth, and everything was awesome. And I totally didn't stand around for 10 minutes waiting for things to spawn for me to kill. That didn't happen. Oh, wait. Yes, it did. Yeah, so, like, I guess the best place to start is we purposefully set aside some time to play together, which was really fun, by the way, even as lame as things ended up being. I always enjoy, setting aside special time to experience things at the same moment, right? Like, because usually what happens is our days off and our free time never coincide. So, like, I'll experience things, and then you're asking me about it on, like, Friday when I've already done everything on Tuesday. So it's like, man, I don't remember. I did that 3 days ago. I don't remember. But
that is an accurate description of many of our
that's
interactions.
literally how our conversations mostly go, is I don't remember. Oh, wait, yeah, I do. Like 5 minutes, I'll think about it. But this was really cool to actually like start from the ground level up and do it together. I just wish that our experience was a little more fun the day of. So we started with void assaults. We thought we would just kind of go around the map and do the new things as they pop up, kind of thing. That was the first thing that caught our eye. And I'll say this, I think we can ease up Blizzard on doing the same thing over and over. The void assaults are literally no different than the pre-patch assaults, which were no different than the assaults in Dragonflight, which were no different than the pre-patch assaults in Dragonflight. It's literally skinning the same cow over and over and over. And it's, I don't know, Trog, is the word boring appropriate? Because quite frankly, I just find it boring and dull.
Yeah, I kind of had the same experience. The pre-patch event was incredibly underwhelming. It was fly around one zone and kill elites over and over and over and over and over again. That was like the most boring thing ever. And then these void assaults, what are the little ones as opposed to the big one called? Do you remember?
The big one is called, I believe, the Incursion. That's the thing you have to fill the bar for. And obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I'm used to it at this point. I have a Trog in my life. But the Incursion is the big one, and the assaults are the tiny ones.
Okay, so we started out with an assault, and it was one where I think you just needed to kill mobs, right? It was really
we were
simple.
literally just waiting for things.
Yeah, Rocket and I were like flying in circles around this little pond, just waiting for things to spawn, along with like 30 other people. So every time something spawned, it immediately died, and everybody jumped on their mount and started flying in circles again. Like, just a terrible first day experience. I've done some Void Assault since then, and I've done one where you have to find, like, imposters in a village. That one felt very much like our first day one, because really you were just running between the same 3 spots doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
There was one where you had to throw containers into a, like, tower.
That one's actually
that
fun.
one felt
I like that one.
That one felt a little bit more unique. And then I kind of liked the one where you had to, like, channel on these robots to, like, break their shield, and then you had to kill them. That one also felt like a little bit different.
So I'm sure, most people listening will be aware of this, but just in case you're not, like, the launch of Patch Day was not fun.
No, not
they
fun.
they have since fixed everything, and they are playable and they are doable. And yeah, I agree with you a lot on just, like, some of them feel fun, and then some of them are just like, I guess I'll do it because I have to. I'm trying to fill the bar. And honestly, other than the currency for T-Mog, which, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. I'll come back to that. For me, as, like, a max level, like, Rocket's eye level is 276 at this point. I'm in heroic raids every week. I'm doing my 10s, sometimes 11s and 12s if I'm fortunate enough to have our awesome, tanks take me through things. But, like, there's really no point for me to do the assaults. Now, before we move on to the other features, I will say that as the week progressed and as I kind of figured out how the assault system works, I had recently leveled another toon. And as far as, like, doing the assaults for gear, I feel that's a great catch-up mechanic for a fresh level 90. Like, I got to eye level 250 in, like, less than a day, and I hadn't even done, like, any high-end delves or anything yet. I literally just went out to the assaults and just followed the big group of people doing the stuff around, picked up enough of the currency, and just started buying gear. Lo and behold, I'm getting eye level 250 stuff for, minimal time investment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not leveling a character, so I'm not seeing it from that perspective. I'm only seeing it from the, the max level perspective, where I'm geared enough to do heroic raids,
Right.
so there's really nothing from these events that I need.
Now, on the flip side of that, the only reason I would be out there, and I'll be honest, I'm not probably going to do this on Rocket, but I'll do it on my Warlock, because she has more of the AoE coverage. Like, when there's big packs of stuff, I can get things done quicker. So I've been using her to farm for the currency to buy the different T-Mog sets. There is that awesome tier 2 recoloring for everybody that's out there. And I don't think they realized how trolly of a setup this was for people. The fact that you farm the currency to buy the T-Mog, that's fine. That's fine. But then you can't even specifically tell it which ones you want to buy. It's all random. So
that feels
that
terrible.
that makes me feel like crap. I'm
Yeah,
like, why
I
would
hate
you
that.
do that when, it's, and I get why they did it. It's to keep people engaging with the dumb content, right? But realistically, you're telling me we know that you only want certain sets of gear, but we're going to force you to buy all the other ones too, just to get the one that you want. And that,
Yeah, or pieces of the other
that
ones. Like,
doesn't-
not even
yeah,
force you to buy
man.
all the other ones.
so I went through thousands of the currency trying to get the Nemesis one for my Warlock. And I think I have 2 pieces that I still need, but I have like 5 or 6 out of, the 10 pieces for the other people that I don't ever play and don't really care about their tier set, to be honest.
It's so weird, because this is a recolor of a thing that we were able to buy class by class at the
Anniversary
anniversary
vendor.
event.
Exactly my point.
And And then there was another recolor of it available in the War Within that worked the same way. You ground up some currency, you bought a complete set for a class, and now they have another currency or another recolor, and this time we can't buy it the same way.
So
that feels so weird.
My hope is that gets changed to the way the other ones have all been purchasable, hopefully, with next week's reset. Because again, it's just like, why are you introducing RNG in a thing that we're already on the wheel for? I don't get it. It seems like an unnecessary extra level of annoyance.
And I watched Bellular did a video about this recently, and I watched that, and he's completely right. Like, the game used to have this kind of crap in it, and they've realized that the community hates when you put share a transmog currency with a current gear currency.
Yes.
You should never do that. And 2, don't make our transmog random.
Yes.
Like, the whole point of transmog is I'm buying targeted pieces because I like the way they look and I want to see them on my character.
Right.
Why are you making me go through a lottery to find the pieces I want?
And then just the interface for the thing is dumb too. You can't buy multiples of the same item at a time. So I found this out the hard way because I'm sitting there on my Warlock and I'm clicking on the chest piece, and you can only buy one chest piece. So what I found out you can do is you can buy all of the tokens for the different, chest piece, head piece, shoulders, legs, etc. But you can only buy one of each at a time and open it. That is horrible.
Oh. Wow, I didn't even realize that.
That is absolutely horrible. So you're having to close the window, open the window. It's just like, let me buy all the things I can buy at once. And if you're going to introduce this dumb RNG portion of it, let me engage with it as minimally as possible. Why are you literally making this way more painful than it has to be?
Yeah. That whole thing. And then the 2 events, right? The Void Assaults and Incursions,
right,
and the Ritual Sites share the same currency, right?
And you actually, okay, so that is a nice segue. We can talk about one of the things I actually enjoyed doing together and look forward to doing more of the challenges for, and that is the Ritual Sites. These are actually fantastic.
I agree 100%.
In my opinion, if I just had the Ritual Sites and not the Assaults, I'd be a happy camper.
The Ritual Sites feel like things I've liked from the past as well, or they feel like things from the past as well, but they were things I enjoyed. The Island Expeditions, yes, I enjoyed those. The scenarios in Mists of Pandaria, I enjoyed those, and Delves. And these kind of feel like they sit in that pocket where I did it 3 or 4 times in a row, I think, by myself the other day, adding challenges and just trying different things. And it was a lot of fun figuring out my route through it because I'm on my druid. I end up stealthing and only killing the things that I have to kill. And that's a lot of fun to play through that, and having to worry about paths again, having to see, okay, I know that guy is coming, so I need to get this guy over here so that I can fight him by himself. That felt to me like the part of the game that I really, really love, where you're planning, you're using your abilities, you're having to be strategic. Yeah.
So, again, the way I've been trying to explain it, because people in our guild will ask me kind of what they are, and the best way I can explain them is Island Expeditions, Delves, and Horrific Visions got together, got drunk, and created a baby, and this is that baby. Because it takes, all the things that you just said that I enjoy out of all those different features and, game modes, and let's be honest, the Horrific Visions were really hard. These are a challenge, but the penalty doesn't, kick you in the teeth if you make a mistake, per se. The most you can ever lose, I don't know if you know this, but in the rituals, the most you can ever lose is 50% of whatever you got. So you get 2 free deaths that have no consequences, and then after that, it stacks up to 50%, and then you don't get any more penalty. So if you go in there and you hard charge it and you bite off more than you can chew, you're penalized, but the penalty is not like earth shattering, so to speak. Whereas with horrific visions, like you messed up and you had to start all over from scratch.
WoW does seem to often have that problem of not knowing where those penalties should be.
Right.
Either something has no like penalty at all for failing, or it's such an extreme penalty that it doesn't even feel worth doing.
Right. And for me,
no in between.
that was the original incarnation of horrific visions. The reason why I was so very minimal with my engagement with it is the penalty for failure was you had to farm up the currency to start the vision over from scratch. That was the first go around.
Yeah, which just feels bad.
Which was in what, BFA? So
yeah, BFA.
when they did the retooling of it, I really had a much better time because, again, the penalty for failure was, oh, I can just start over from the beginning and not do what I did to cause myself to fail. Now I know, and I can progress, inch by inch sometimes, but I got gradually better each time I went in there.
That was the first time I did a higher tier ritual. I ended up pulling too much because I didn't really realize the level. Yeah, because I knew. And I did die twice, and I'm like reading, and I'm like, okay, so you get 2 free deaths. So I've used my deaths. I need to be careful that I immediately died again. So, but I felt like that was okay, right? I got a little suppression on what I got there, but it wasn't like, well, I might as well just start over because it's useless to even continue.
Right.
Like,
and that seems to be like the norm, right? The norm is you screw up just enough, and it's like, okay, time to start from scratch because there's no point. Like tier 11 delves with the deaths.
Or a Mythic Plus if you miss the timer most of the time. Like, I like where the investment I've put in it is not all squandered because I made a mistake.
Right, because I am a player who is not a robot and sometimes gets overconfident. I mean, let's be real.
I never get overconfident. It's always just the right level of confidence.
Trog levels of confidence. But yeah, so like the ritual sites, again, for those who maybe haven't started doing them or have only done them very minimally, they're super fun, and they're basically set up to where you can do it all by yourself. There's also achievements for doing certain things with at least three or more people. I think you can have up to 5, like a normal dungeon. But what I've found is for my hunter, it's super easy if I just slow and steady and plan my pulls. I only pull 2 or 3 mobs at a time, but as those mobs are about to die, I'm chain pulling the next group. So it's like, if you plan around, and it's not like the prey system where all the stuff dog piles on you, things usually happen in a sequence, and it's pretty easy to, pick up on that sequence. Like, the most I've ever done by myself right now is 4 challenges at once. So it would be like the big dude you got to interrupt pops up. And then the green circle on the ground that you got to dodge the vines pops up. And then, I got to take out an obelisk because it's powering up all the mobs around me. So it's like you kind of know what to expect if you do it more than once. And I really like that.
Yeah. I agree with you. It was funny because before I'd figured everything out, right? I'm doing one of them where I, all of a sudden, in the middle of this gigantic sea of mobs that I've pulled, I get completely silenced to the point where I can't even shapeshift.
Oh, no.
And I thought it was because I let one of those cultist guys with the big circles,
right.
I thought I let him get off his cast. And then I found out it's the little octopus pet that some of them have.
Yeah, the guy that does the mind wipe.
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun learning experience because I got crushed.
Yeah, so I learned pretty quick that those guys have to die ASAP.
Yeah, they have to die immediately.
And then, so like with the ritual sites, there's, again, a lot of achievements, and the more of the challenges that you choose, means you get a better reward at the completion of the scenario. And I've found, at least on my max level tunes, that it is a much better way to quickly farm up the currency that is That is what everyone's after right now. The what is it? The field accolades is what they're called, I believe.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
Um,
Yeah, I was gonna mention too. I spent some time yesterday actually doing some of this content, so I'd be ready to like talk about it. So I did several of the void assaults. I missed doing an incursion, so maybe that gives you more. But after those, each void assault only gave me a handful of
Yeah.
currency, and I'm like,
the big one gives you a
But-
chest at the end with I think like 100 or so.
but it still feels like those rituals. I get more than 100 every
yeah.
time, and it takes about the same amount of time
yeah.
as a single void assault.
So again,
Those
for high
rewards
level
are not
people,
balanced.
high level people, the ritual sites are a much better option. Plus, like I discovered, there's mounts, pets, and all kinds of other things that you can only get inside of the ritual site as well. So there's all kinds of reasons to do them. Again, my personal hot take on it is do the assaults if you have a fresh 90 that you're trying to gear up. Do the ritual sites on your max level characters that you're trying to farm T-Mog for. That's really what it comes down to.
I think the ritual sites are just more fun.
They are.
Those are the ones I'm going to keep doing.
Those are the ones I'm going to engage with the most. Now,
And tomorrow it should switch to Trollland, right? So we're going to
Correct.
get a new one.
so it should cycle. And my hope is that we get more than one ritual site per zone at some point. Because I will say this, doing the Dagger Spine one over and over, like, I do one path. There's only one way to go. So it gets pretty repetitive.
There is one pretty clear path.
It's
Clear the shore, go to the island, and kill the last couple
you
things.
do everything on one side, then you clear whatever obelisks you need and go to the other side. So I mean, it's pretty. I'm not going to say monotonous, but it can get kind of repetitive unless you're challenging yourself with more and more of the challenges that are available. Which the next one I run, I'm going to try to do a full 8 by myself and see how it goes. But
yeah, I did 7 yesterday, so I'm looking forward to doing 8 as well. I got the last one.
yeah, I'm diving right in. I'm jumping from 4 to 8, and I'm probably going to get smoked. But that's how we learn.
I jumped from 2 to 7, and it was
Oh,
funny.
okay. Well, then I don't feel as nervous.
You know what? We should save the best for last, and we should talk about decor.
Okay. We can
whatever's
dive into
next.
decor duels. So, as part of this patch, there was another kind of side game mode, again, with mostly appearance things, but yet another currency to keep track of. Can we just stop, Blizzard? Let us buy these things with gold, for God's sake. Come on. Like,
Or just like lean into Void Light Marrow.
yeah, please. Like, why do I have 3 new currencies because you dropped a patch on me? But anyway, decor duels. Our launch day experience was kind of meh, but a lot of that was based on just not knowing what we were doing, which was kind of fun in a way.
Yeah, it was.
But come to find out, as the week progressed, and I did it a few more times, and I, watched videos from other creators and stuff like that. The common consensus is it's overly punishing for no reason if you're really good at hiding. Like, the whole point of the game mode is it's basically hide and seek. So why is there bugs that call you out where you are if you stay still? Like, what?
Yeah,
I don't get it. Do you want me
I
to
don't
hide?
get that
Do you want me
either.
to
That's a
hide, or
weird
do you want me to
choice.
keep moving? Because that's not what hide and seek is. Hide and seek is you go find a good spot, you look at the stuff around you, you try to find something that matches close enough with what's around you that someone wouldn't think you're a person, and then you stay there, and you don't move until you have to move.
Well, the best hide and seek players always move after the person passes them
That's
by.
what I'm saying. Once the whole team goes past you, move to where they were, not where they're going.
Yeah, those silly flies that come up, that just seems weird. And then Rocket and I were laughing because
We're going to file this under news to no one.
So Rocket had said, Did you say like what about find
Yeah. So
humanoids or
like
whatever?
before patch even launched, Trog and I were having a conversation, and I said, you know, I can't wait to try out and see if track hidden or track humanoids works inside of the decor duels. Well, to nobody's shock, everyone, it was exploited early and often.
Trog. I totally said, no, man, that's such an obvious thing. There's no way they'd let that slip through as a bug.
Boy, were we wrong, Trog.
Well, you were right. I was wrong this
Yeah.
time. Doesn't happen that often, but, you know, once a year.
I don't want you to be wrong about this. I wanted them to be smarter than that.
Yeah, that just felt dumb.
And then, so like everyone was exploiting it early and often, and I think they hot fixed it fairly early in the week to where that feature is disabled. The one thing that I will say about the decor duels that I'm interested in doing them more is I want to find out how people get to all those hard to see spots.
Oh, the best one was that little floating platform by where you start. Man, I didn't even realize that the little a guy was like one of those little fire braziers, and he was sitting on that floating platform, and it looked completely natural. So I just walked by it like 6 times.
Right.
And then I saw him shift just a little bit.
So the other thing that I noticed is the penalty if you don't find somebody at least once as a seeker. So the last one that you and I did, I didn't say anything about it at the time, but it kind of ruffled my feathers because in game I get a message that says, do more next time. And it didn't give me any rewards. And I'm like, I was literally running around spamming my thing to try to find people. And it's because I quote unquote didn't tag anyone that it gave me 0 credit for the match.
Oh, I did not know that. That is ass.
That is garbage, Blizzard.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Make up your mind. Do you want it to be hide and seek? And how are you going to gauge engagement with the feature? Make it consistent. Don't do that to people. Just because I'm not good at finding people, I get no rewards for the 20 minutes I spent on this crap.
And the funniest bug that I heard about was if you sit still too long, you get flagged as AFK and you get booted and you get nothing either.
Right.
So if you're really good at hiding, you get punished for
Again, it's like, what are you trying to do? Because clearly we don't think it's what you want us to do.
It feels like a lot of these things are like, there's a good idea here. There is some gold here, but it's in first draft mode. Like the first guild webpage that I put together in the character screen, like there was lots of info there, but it wasn't particularly intuitive. It was hard to get to, and I don't think it added a whole lot of value, but there was a good thing there where it pulled all your info together in one spot, but it wasn't really useful.
I believe my exact words were, hey, could you make this rocket friendly?
And like I did get some feedback. I got some feedback from you that it was not very intuitive. I got some feedback from Peon that it wasn't pointing people in the direction to help them improve. And I took that feedback and I iterated on my own work a few times until I got to a point where I was really happy with it. And that's what it kind of feels like here. It feels like they had a good idea and they developed the MVP, minimum viable product, and then they just said, okay, ship it, it's done. Instead of like playing it and saying, oh, this feels weird, this doesn't feel quite right, why did we do this when we don't normally do that, right? Like, it feels like there's something good there that they just didn't spend enough time to actually find the good thing. And this is, we were talking before the podcast, but this is the thing that frustrates me so much about Blizzard. Blizzard was one of those companies for the longest time. There's only a few of them. Valve was another one, and that one that made Psychonauts, that company. I can't remember the name of the company right now.
I haven't thought about that game in years.
Oh, I got to play Psychonauts too. I bought it, but I haven't played it yet. But you used to be able to depend. If it came out from one of these companies, it was going to be a good game. Maybe it wouldn't be a game in your genre, right? Like, I don't really like Overwatch because I don't play that type of game
Yeah.
anymore. But the game would be good. And now from Blizzard, we're getting half-baked ideas that feel like they're coming from EA. Where
Oh,
they
buddy,
just
yeah.
crap out content as fast as possible without caring if it's good or not. That's what I'm feeling coming from
That is a
Blizzard.
great analogy, by the way. Yeah, it's Electronic Arts, man. For those who don't know, they were famous for just cranking out half-baked ideas and calling it a game.
Well, they were the one that exposed some of the really bad practices going on in game development with the EA wife blog when that came
Oh,
out,
Lord.
talking about how they basically manipulated the process so they're always on a deadline. That feels like what they're doing to these poor developers over at Blizzard.
Right.
These guys are like an 8-week turnaround for every piece of content. The Guild website has taken me more than 8 weeks. I know I'm a solo developer, and I'm just building a thing that displays some data on a
But
screen.
still,
But to get that right, I didn't just develop it real quick and then push it out and call it done and move on to my next thing. I've been taking the feedback. I've been iterating, and it doesn't feel like Blizzard's doing that anymore.
and we will get to that final, save the best for last. But I want to kind of, piggyback on this topic right now because I feel like a lot of what has currently happened this week, including that half-baked apology, a lot of it just every time they do something like this, it tarnishes the shininess that used to be Blizzard. As you said, Blizzard used to be like, you saw that logo and you knew you were getting a quality product. It may not be necessarily your cup of tea, but you could say to somebody, hey, if you like XYZ type of games, I recommend anything by Blizzard. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the longest time, the RTS, the point and click move and, that kind of stuff wasn't my thing. But I knew from playing games like Lost Vikings that Blizzard is a good company. They make good stuff. So I'm like, when Diablo came out, I'm like, I'll give this a chance. I'm glad I did. That kind of thing. Now it's like almost been turned upside down because of decades and decades of, for lack of a better word, corporate overlords dictating what they put out and how often and how long they have to actually quality control it. So when they come out with that half-baked apology where it says, we play this game just like you do, I really don't think they do. Like, they want us to think they do, and I empathize more with the dev team on Blizzard than I do with, the overlords. The corporate overlords are the issue. The cadence of release is the issue. Let's pump the brakes and get back to quality. Again, I'm not just like speaking from rose-colored glasses either, Trog. Things were better. Things were shinier. Did we have glitches? Yes. I can remember several times in Burning Crusade when the servers had to get rebooted live because of things that were happening. Too many people dogpiling on an NPC on the island back in the day. GMs actually had to come in game and say, hey, everybody leave the zone or your character will die. And I watched as an atomic bomb destroyed the island of Quel Delas. It was pretty fun.
I've never seen that.
It was really cool. That's something I will never forget as something that like actually happened. And again, I'm not just looking back with, the Memba berries or anything like that. I feel a lot of the issue they have is they don't have the time to see these things coming per se. It's more push it out, and all of us are now paid beta testers for, quite frankly, what should be an alpha version of the feature.
I think you mean paying to be alpha.
That's what I'm
testers.
saying. It's even worse than beta, right?
Oh man. And then the fact that when issues are raised in the testing that are not fixed before we get to live, then why are you even having anybody
Right,
look anything?
right. Why even
If you're
give us
not going
the
to fix
option
it,
to tell you if you're not going to pay attention?
right? Yeah, it just it's amazing.
That would be like, I run into this with my daughter every once in a while where she's like, well, you never told me that. I'm like, yes, I did 3 times. You only heard me now. you know, Blizzard, we've told you for the last 6 months this was an issue. Why is it still an issue? Oh, well, we didn't know about it till now. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And the line in that apology that got set me off the most was, this is not up to our standard quality.
Right.
And I'm like, but it kind of is. Every patch you issue has disastrous bugs in it. And I don't know how they can do this, like patch after patch after patch, and not really address things.
Right. Like you and I talked in a podcast, a couple back, I want to say, is like, why did it take till patch 12.05 or whatever for them to give Devourer Demon Hunters blue eyeballs? Why is that? Like, again, this is supposed to be like your shiny new thing. Why wouldn't you make it as shiny as possible?
Right.
Housing. Housing was shut down day one of the new patch because of bugs. This is the shiny new thing you're advertising everywhere you look. It's about housing. That, I really appreciated the Aussie tribute that was baked into that video. But like, everywhere you look, it's about housing, and people can't even do housing when the patch drops.
Which is mind-boggling. Your biggest feature, and you broke it.
I just don't get it. And again, I think I'm coming from a place where maybe I care too much. But like, I care too much because I've been playing this most of my adult life, and I remember when things were better. And I just want to get back to that. Like, take the time that this game deserves, because there are so many little things right now, Trog, that could be great instead of mediocre if they would have just taken a week or two more to look at it.
And I think that's what it really is they need to be able to be in a cycle where they MVP something, they find what's good in it, and they cut what's not good. Because that's a thing, like, as a creative, I read the Stephen King quote from somewhere, is you always have to be willing to kill your darlings, right?
Right.
You're going to create things, and I've done this before when I've been building a system of some sort. I'm like, oh, this would be completely awesome. But you have to step back and go, is this materially the part that is going to make this feature sing, or is this just added complexity?
Right.
And you have to be willing to cut. And I feel like Blizzard is getting into this template design, right? Let's just do another
drag
assault
and drop
mechanic. Let's just, like, it's just over and over the same stuff, where one thing they promised with the lack of add-ons is that they can have more variety. I've seen some variety in the raids, like that Lura fight especially is really cool.
I agree with Bellular's statement, by the way, that's probably one of the best boss fights they've done in a long time.
Yeah,
in terms of design and how you engage with it.
I like how it encouraged all of us to work as a group, right? And that was a really fun experience. But I feel like those really good experiences are becoming way too few and far between. Yeah. Although we should talk about the last event we haven't talked about yet.
I know. We kind of veered off, but I think it was necessary to address the elephant in the room. So we have definitely saved our favorite for last. I really dig the ritual sites, but I'm actually most excited this week to hopefully have some time to go back and keep progressing on the Abyss Anglers feature. My goodness, how much fun is that? And I didn't even see it coming.
We only did it once, and yeah, I when I saw the Abyss Anglers and the Decor Duels, I'm like, whatever. These are just silly side
Right.
features. But we did the we. I've only done one of the Anglers.
I
But
think I'm like
I
rank
loved it.
3. I've done it a couple random times. That's about it.
I really love roguelites and roguelikes, and that having that inside WoW was something that really caught my interest.
So for those who aren't aware, in Zolomon, in the top right of the map, is a new feature called Abyss Anglers, which really isn't tied into anything else that's going on. And I think that's probably why I like it, because I don't feel like I have to do it. I know it's there when I want to do it. So the idea is you basically put on a diving suit and you go down into the depths, and you are either spearing fish to capture them, or you are looking for sunken treasure to get points. And again, yet another currency, but at least this is purely for cosmetic rewards, and the amount you need is very minimal. What a lot of people, like our Fearless Tank show, what a lot of people are enjoying is the sheer amount of achievements that are tied to it. Like there's 35 or 40 achievements just for the Abyss
Oh,
Anglers.
wow. There's a ton tied to the rituals,
Yeah,
too,
oh, yeah.
because I got
And
a mountain of achievements yesterday.
That's another reason why it tickles tickles my brain in the right way. But what I need to work on is the movement while you're down there doing the angler stuff, because sometimes I think I'll line up a shot and it just misses and I don't know why. But it is a fun little for lack of a better word, unattached feature that they've included. And I think they need to do more fun, silly things like that once in a while.
You know, I agree. I like when there's something just fun to do. I will say the season 2 of War Within, I really did enjoy all the random stuff for the goblins.
The different cartels.
Yeah, a lot of that was just for transmog pets and mounts. Not a lot of it was for gearing. And it was fun to drive around the city and drop off a package and then beat up a bunch of goblins and then drive around some more. Like, I enjoy that kind of fun stuff. And unfortunately, these void assaults just feel like boring. I don't know what it is about this Twilight cult. I really don't give a crap about them at all.
Right? I mean, they've really made me not care about them because, like, everything that involves them is repetitive, boring, for the most part, other than the void rituals. But, like, even the tie-up quest where you're going around Silvermoon and you're having to, like, stomp out, you know, the uprising of the cult, right? You have to go interact with all of them and convince them, you know, basically to shut up kind of thing. And I'm like,
I remember that one.
This is stuff that I've been doing since Vanilla WoW. Like, this has been around since Vanilla WoW. Why am I still doing it? It's 2026.
It just, I don't know, the whole, and I had this feeling during Cataclysm too, when the Twilight cult was working for Deathwing. I was just like, I don't care. They're just purple casters.
Right.
I don't get why I should care about this at all.
Well, you should care because we're told to care, Trog.
Oh, man. I will talk about, did we talk about the elves in the Sunwell last time?
Not really, but I mean, we can spend a little bit of time here because it kind of carries over into kind of what this patch is all about. It's the rising up of the Twilight cult in response to all of the stuff that happened with the Darkwell. So
my first reaction to that whole cutscene that happened, where we spent 10 minutes talking to the different elf factions, flying around a little bit, and then all of a sudden everybody's there. That was goofy because it felt like we were bridging centuries of like distrust and chaos, and we weren't even dealing with it. They were just all of a sudden, all the elves are happy together.
Not just trust or mistrust and chaos, Trog. We're talking about centuries of genocide. Like one faction against another.
Kind of swept under the rug. But then we come together and we've done all this talking about how the Sunwell should just be eliminated. We shouldn't have a Sunwell anymore. and then they turn it into the Dawnwell. So is that just a lighter version of the Sunwell? Why did we even have this conversation?
And we don't even get closure as to like what exactly the Dawnwell is. Is it symbolic or does it still have magic power? Are they still crack addicts or not?
Yeah, that it felt like they just glossed over all of that. And then Erator just sitting back with the smile on his face while his parents are like tunneling into the world after.
Well, I mean, Terillian, I could understand. I'd still be a little miffed at him too, but like, that's your mom, bro. Aren't you concerned about her?
Yeah. And he just like, it doesn't even matter anymore. Nope. And it felt like, I mean, Bellular said this as well, but it felt like they were just, okay, we're done with this story. On to the next one. Let's move it along.
Sally forth.
And that's not how, like, again, I mean, I know I've said this way too much this time, but that's not how Blizzard's games used to be.
Correct.
It reminded me of when I started playing Diablo 4 when it came out, because I really loved Diablo 2. I loved Diablo 3. I played those games for thousands of hours. I love those games. But then I play Diablo 4, and by the time I think I'm in the middle of Act 3, and I'm like, I just don't give a shit about this story. Like, it just seems like we're just rehashing other stories. We're not telling any new story at all here. And I just ended up quitting the game before I even finished it or got to max level.
What is it? I think it's Liar Liar, where she's like telling him all about her day or something. He's like, and I don't care. That's how it makes me feel when they do stuff like that. I don't care.
Yeah, like that annoying NPC in War Within that would always yell at the orcs sitting there. Yeah. That whole story I didn't care about either. It felt like a gigantic nothing burger, but we were supposed to care and it was supposed to be important to the story. But
so refresh my memory. What's the name of that orc that all of a sudden is part of that group when that group was like literally dedicated to wiping him out?
I don't even remember that.
But like, can you make it make sense? Like, it's almost like they're just shiny, happy feeling everything and just expecting us to be like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We'll just ignore everything we thought we knew about that character and just go with this new sanitized version that you're presenting.
Well, and it kind of, we talked about this a lot during the War Within, but that expansion felt very almost random from a story perspective. We're going to go deal with some spider people. Oh, we're done with that. We're going to go deal with some goblins. Oh, we're done with that. We're going to go and deal with some void people, right? And it didn't, I mean, I know the Xalatath chick is like there for all of them, but I don't know that she was a compelling driver to the story.
Right. It's still not like, except with her dealing with Gallywix and stuff like that, there was no through line throughout everything.
Well, she was the only through line, and that was why it didn't land very well, because they're trying to make us care about this character to the level that we cared about the Lich King and we cared about Illidan. But the reason that we cared about those characters is because they were human-esque people caught in terrible situations, making bad decisions, but we could see why. Right. They were villains that we could empathize with to a point, and the Xalatath is just like a god in a dead body.
And they tried to make us care about her by giving us that cool cinematic with a salad bar in it, but like, it's almost like too little too late. You're giving us her backstory when we should have already known all that.
Yeah, and I kind of, that whole thing with Salad Bar.
That poor guy.
That poor dude. Can we beat him up over and over again.
Can we just address the fact that poor Salad Bar, like, he was a hard boss the first go around. Our guild sauntered up to him, and I believe the exact words were, we'll just give this a try and then call it a night, because it was the end of our raid night. We ended up one-shotting him in the Void Spire.
That was so silly.
I'm like, I feel bad for you, bro.
Yeah. I hope he's in the next raid too, and I hope we trounce him even harder.
Oh, man. Well, have we covered all of the patch madness? Is there anything else we need to address?
Let's see, what else came with the patch? Oh, I haven't even used the rerolls yet because apparently they were broken for a while.
Yeah, so it's not so much that they were broken, it's the bad luck protection. So the way it was supposed to work is if it's something that you already got, that would drop it out of the reroll table, right? So like you reroll, you get something. It may not necessarily be what you're after. Like, for example, Rocket is currently stuck in Algothar Academy hell trying to get the puzzle box. And I used my bonus roll and I didn't get the puzzle box, but I got this other piece. Well, at least I know going forward that that piece is off the loot table and it moves me closer to the puzzle box. But I guess at launch, that wasn't happening.
Only off the loot table for your reroll, right? Not in general.
Correct. It can still drop out of the chest at the end of the dungeon, but as far as your reroll table, it wipes it clean if you've already rolled and gotten it.
Okay.
You cannot get it twice. But that wasn't working on launch. So what was happening was people would roll. They would have their two rolls, right? They would roll for it. They would get one thing. They would roll again. And then there was a chance, and most people did, they got a duplicate thing.
Which just feels terrible.
Again, it's...
if you've used your limited time resource.
It's just like, you guys, you can't push this crap out without making it work. I don't work for Blizzard, but I feel like I do. I feel bad when this happens. Because again, every single time something like this happens, it tarnishes the goodwill of the players with Blizzard. And I want people to remember Blizzard as I remember it, which was, it may not be a game that I would play, but I know it's a quality game and I could recommend it to somebody.
Yeah. I definitely don't feel that way about WoW.
I caution everybody, like even new people who are like, hey, I've been away from WoW for a while. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a good time to come back, but I'd wait a couple weeks after patch. Don't dive in right when the new stuff hits because you're not going to have a good time.
Oh man, that's something else that I saw in the video, right? It's their reaction to this stuff happening also doesn't make any sense because sometimes they punish people for exploiting things early, and sometimes they reward people for exploiting things
or
early.
they just don't do anything.
Never sure. Yeah. Or don't do anything. So you're never sure, like exploit early, exploit often is that slogan going around right now. But
because the worst thing that'll happen is you get a slap on the wrist nowadays. I mean, really, what are they going to do? Their stuff is...
Boy, this has been a salty episode.
Well, it's been a salty patch cycle, Trog. More so than anything I can remember in recent history. This patch has been pretty much chaos. I will say that it's definitely better now than it was at the beginning of the week. But again, it's why are we as WoW players, and I don't want to say that we're okay with it, but why aren't we more vocal about it? Like, I get it that we go to the forums and things like that, but this should be all over Facebook. There should be content creators that are bringing this up. And I get the feeling that, like, except for a few, I don't like to use the word safe, but like a few people who have a safety net around them and can talk, honestly about what Blizzard's doing, like Bellular, for example. He seems to be pretty open and honest, and I don't feel like they're going to, like, react negatively if he says something. But, like, with the exception of him and maybe a few others, there's been no chirping about this from anyone who creates WoW content. They're all, make-believing that everything's fine.
Well, I think we're in a weird place because this expansion is good.
Yes.
Right? Like the overhaul to Silver Moon was good. The delves are good. The dungeons are good. I mean, this is the most fun I've had in Mythic Plus in a while, and I sometimes don't like to engage in that content.
Right.
So
And we
all of
talked
that's
about
been
that with
really
show
good.
kind of at length too. It's like it's more accessible than it's ever been, and I think that's okay. Like, leave the challenge for the people who play it at the higher levels, but try to get more people to play it.
It's weird where we have this thing where they've released a really good expansion, but there's also warts all over
Right.
it, and they're not addressing them and making sure it doesn't happen again. They've upped the warts in their first patch.
Right.
Makes me dread seeing the 0.7 patch.
Which, again, is, big news. I don't know if anybody else has heard this. I just heard about it yesterday. The 0.7 patch is going to introduce mythic scaling for the single boss raid that's coming out in that patch. And I'm like, that is a smart move, because our guild will definitely benefit from that.
Yeah, it's the core thing that keeps us out of Mythic.
We don't have 20 people.
We're casual. We don't always have everybody on every raid night.
So if we can flex with 15, we're good.
Yeah, that will be nice, because then we can actually step into Mythic a little bit.
So, like, I think my overall, and instead of giving salt at the end, I feel like we've, like, bucket loads of salt this entire podcast today. So I'm going to kind of flip it around. I'm going to say my hope moving forward is that they're not just feeding us what we want to hear, and they've actually come to the point where they realize that maybe this is an issue. I don't think it's something they can fix within midnight, but my hope is that in The Last Titan, they slow down the cadence of releases just a tad. Even an extra week would have made a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. I think they need to do that now, not wait till the next expansion.
I don't think they can, though, because they've already had the roadmap released and it's been published, and they have to stick to it. However, what I would say, Blizzard, is if you came out with an announcement tomorrow that said, hey, the roadmap's out the window, we need to address the elephant in the room, I'm pretty sure that most of the players would be okay with that.
Oh, I agree completely. I think if Blizzard said, you know what, we recognize that the pace that we're releasing content is causing us to release subpar content, we're going to re-examine that, slow it down, and we'll issue a new roadmap in a month or two.
Right.
I mean, I would understand that 100%. I'd be like, hell yeah, like, recognize your own gaps and
so, like,
fix them.
That's something that I've been saying, for a long time, and I know I've had this conversation with you, is like, when things go wrong, it's not the fact that things go wrong that upsets me. It's the lack of, and again, keep in mind, I don't expect them to, like, call me up and be like, hey, Rocket, here's why everything's broken. Sorry, right? But communicate.
Oh, they're not going to call you. They break it for you,
right.
Sir.
Communicate. Back in the day, it used to be like, hey, this broke. We're having an issue with XYZ system. We need extra time. Sorry for the delay. We'll update as we can. Something as simple as that on a long downtime day would go a long way to being like, okay, well, something's really broke. Not just, hey, sit around for 8 hours and hopefully we're available.
You love you some patch day.
Oh, gosh. And the fact is, I wouldn't be quite as mad, except it's my first day off every week. So when stuff like that goes down, it really affects my playing. But again, I think it's just a little more communication, a little more transparency, and I think that would go a long way to repairing this rift that's been building up every time something like this happens.
I think they need that. You're 100% right there, that they need to acknowledge the problem that they have, because it's frustrating seeing that kind of BS apology and knowing that they're not even really calling out what's going on. It's just kind of papering over it so that we don't look too deep.
For me, the big indicator that this is a nothing burger of an apology was at the very bottom where it says the development team. that lets me know it was probably generated by AI and someone just kind of spouted off kind of what they wanted it to say, and it just generated it and published it.
Oh man, that is every message we're going to see from, corporations for
We
a while.
play this game just like you. Sorry. No. Address the fact that there is an issue. Call it out. Be honest. Again, honesty goes a long way. And then do something about it. Make an actual change to your cadence so that you can address these things hopefully before they happen, or they will happen less often. Because quite honestly, if it was just one little hiccup with the patch, we would all kind of expect that, right? It's a huge game. There's things that will happen. However, when it's housing is down, the loot protection doesn't work that you were advertising for the patch. The fact that, you have to wait around to do the new feature. The fact that your flagship, new shiny class can't have the blue eyeballs that everybody wants for 6 months.
That one is particularly
I'm like, these are stupid problems. It's kind of like Pablo Escobar and the fact that he was okay with losing millions of dollars to rats because he has billions of dollars, right? And I feel like that's kind of where Blizzard is like, these are all acceptable because there's no consequences to us. People still play. And I get that, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be that way. Anyway.
It doesn't.
I could go on and on and on. What I was going to say is this has been a particularly salty episode. I am going to find the light, and the light, I'm going to find...
Well, the light is Abyss Anglers and Rituals.
There you go. The light of the patch are the two features that I thought I would engage with the least, which is Abyss Anglers and the Ritual sites. Enjoy them, everybody, because they are fantastic.
I had the exact same thought. Those were the two things that I was like, whatever. It's probably going to be the Void Rituals that we're going to spend all of our time in. But no, not at all.
Not at all. And it's okay to be pleasantly surprised once in a while. So, Trog, have we salted that dead cow?
Well, we have one more thing to talk about.
Oh, no.
And that is a preview of the next episode.
Oh, everybody. So, if you haven't been catching up with us, our last podcast featured our guildmate, Shodoom, who is our guild tank, and we will be recording part 2 of our multi-part series, getting different roles to kind of explain what got them into the game, how they feel about their role in current as well as past content. And next time, we'll be talking with one of our healers. He actually plays, I believe it's a monk healer. And he's
switching to shaman.
Switching to shaman. He can never choose. He's just like me. Another me. Anyway, we will be chatting with our guildmate Wyland about the joys of healing for us when we try to do things.
And we do have some other episodes planned featuring more of our guildies, so look forward to that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be something we do once in a while. I kind of wanted to do this 3-part only because it gets other sides of the same playing coin. You know what I mean? So like we get input from a tank and a healer. Next will be a melee DPS because Trog and I both play ranged, and we can really speak to that, how that's been going. But going forward, at least about once a month would be my estimate. We will have what I like to call a very special guest, a very salty guest episode.
Yes, we've got a couple planned coming up, so stay tuned to hear those.
For sure. Well, everybody, that is our salty patch panic. Feel free to drop us a line. Let us know how you experience the patch, if you agree or disagree. But going forward, I have hopeful expectations that things will not be quite as hiccupy in the future. But for now, from us here at Salt All the Things, I'm Rocket. That's Trog. Stay
everybody.
salty.